Good afternoon, dear Stitchers. It's Judy with JBW Designs, and I want to welcome you back to my FlossTube channel. It is October 5th. It is FlossTube number 97, and I don't know about where you live in the country, probably so, but it has been so warm here. We should not complain. In 2 weeks, we'll be complaining about how chilly it is. But it is actually 84 here today. I'm sure it's setting some kind of a record. And I am filming actually at a very strange time for me. It is a Saturday afternoon. I usually try to film during the week, but it just seems like every week lately things come up and my desire to record a video is delayed. So let's get started. And I always like to start by thanking you because I so appreciate all of you who take the time to watch. You have so many choices. Who take the time to write, to send emails, to make comments, and for your kindness. You really are an amazing community to be a part of. So as always, I'm so grateful. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you'll enjoy the content today. So I have the last couple of weeks have been a little crazy, and I'm trying to think. We had several birthdays this fall, and so that always involves a family gathering, which is great. But one of the things that happened that really slowed me down was that 2 weeks ago today I was actually stung by yellow jackets, and I was stung right below my glasses, another place on my face and on my legs. And I tell you what, that really set me back for a few days. It was very painful. I didn't go to urgent care right away, which I should have done, so I waited until the next morning, and my left eye was almost swollen shut. I was a mess. I kind of looked like a raccoon with red eyes. It was not a good look. But I have recovered from that mini disaster, and I'm ready to go. So let me tell you a little bit more about what I have on my plans today. First of all, I want to show you a gift that I received from my friend Maureen Sorensen, and she is with the Heart's Content. And I told you in a previous video that Maureen and her husband came to visit myself and our friend Connie a couple of weeks ago. I think it was the beginning of September. And we just had the best time, just, renewing our friendship, and how wonderful it is to be with old friends. So just this past week, she sent this wonderful card and gift. And I thought, especially the note on the card was so meaningful. Life is crammed with things to take care of, and still you made time to show you care. And I just think that it was such a beautiful message because it was such a treat that they came from Wisconsin. So in addition to the card, she sent me the most fabulous gift. I mean, it couldn't have been a better gift. She sent me a red sampler from her collection. It has glass on it, so it's going to be very hard for you to see, but the inscription on it is just fabulous. Sometimes it's hard to find inscriptions on samplers that are really appealing, and this one you'll just love. It reads, "Learn, little maid, each useful art that may adorn thy youth. Learn to improve thy tender heart in virtue, love, and truth." Isn't that just dear? And it was done in 1843. The name on the sampler is L. Foreman. And when I wrote to thank her for it, I said, this is amazing because I have an aunt whose married last name was Foreman. So she didn't realize that at the time. So it really is, I feel like it's part of my family now. It has beautiful alphabets and Greek key border. So isn't that just the most fabulous gift? I'm so grateful for her friendship. And then I also received a card from Nancy Bates. I had sent her a gift. Nancy is Laura's mom from Brenda and the Serial Stitcher, and she sent the cutest card of little girls. I'm not sure, this doesn't have a date on when this was taken. I don't know if you can see it, but they're all working on their embroidery, and I just thought they were so dear. I'm not sure of their age. They only look like maybe 10, 11, 12 years old, but thank you, Nancy, for your card. And then I received a question. You know I love questions, so be sure to send anything that you're interested in knowing about or need help with. And this question was from Kathy, and she asked about how to get smooth corners when you're doing your finishing. And so in one other section of this video, I'm going to do just a quick tutorial on how I secure my corners when I'm doing my own finishing. So I will get back to that. So the first thing I always like to start with is viewer finishes. And I get these pictures actually both in email. Sometimes I see them on Instagram, and sometimes they're on my Friends of JBW Designs Facebook page. So this week I got one from Dory, and I thought this was so clever. I'm sorry, it's not Dory, it's Rebecca D. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this very clearly, but she took 4 of my round designs, and she did the owls in the round, she did birds in the round, she did bees in the round, and rabbits in the round. And she mounted them on one single cord, and she put little beads in between each one and another bead at the bottom with a tassel. And I love showing finishes to you. I love trying to inspire you with other ideas of how to finish things. So the books that those pieces came from, which you've probably seen before, but I'll show you again. Rabbits in the Round looks like this. This was the very first round design that I did about 5 years ago. And this is, let's see, it doesn't matter what order they're in. This is Around Bees, which just came out. It's probably a little hard to see because it's a pale yellow. This just came out in Nashville about 6 months ago. Birds in the Round looks like this. And then Owls in the Round looks like that. So thank you, Rebecca. That was just very, very clever. And then the next, let's see, I want to put these in some order here. The next one I want to show you, her picture is so cute. This is from Jennifer C. And let's see if I can get it close enough. So she did Ode to Britain, and look what she put in the photo. There's a little statue of Paddington Bear. I just thought that was so cute. And I think she told me she had been on a trip. I think she told me she's making it for a friend, and I thought, what a nice gift. Or even make it for yourself if you've just taken a trip overseas. So I do have an Ode to Britain design. I also have an Ode to France design. And I also have, in addition to that, this is what the she did, oh, you know what? I forgot to pull that book. I did pull the right book. Sorry about that. Sometimes my piles here are hard to sort through. So this is what Ode to Britain looks like. And it's just all symbols of pieces that are motifs that you would find when you were visiting England. Someone did correct me recently because I think in one of my designs I referred to this as, how did I do that? Anyhow, I got them mixed up. I think I referred to it as London Bridge, and I believe it's actually Tower Bridge. So you can correct me and keep me on track here. And so another design that falls into that category is Around Britain. Same kind of things with many, many symbols that you would find. And then another one that I don't have the model here to show you is Around France. And this little green border here, that I just love that. It looks like a wreath, And it actually, you can probably buy them now at Hobby Lobby. These come out at Christmas time, and they're in their unfinished wood section. And I've used them many times for finishing because I think they make such a beautiful finish. And you just have to spray paint them the color you want. So then another viewer wrote to say that she was just starting, I want to get this right side up here, my new design called Autumn Harvest. And let's see, let's go this way with it. This is the right way. And this was from Cheryl S. And she found this fabric at Michael's that she's going to use for the finishing. I thought it was perfect. And she has her color palette all laid out there. So it'll be fun to see her finished one. And of course, that's the design for that piece was new this August. That's Autumn Harvest. I'm tongue-tied today. And this one is an interesting one because Lois sent it, and she obviously has been, we all have a stash of books, let's face it, but this is a design that I actually, did in 2004, and it's called Let It Snow. I'm sorry to say it's out of print. In fact, I looked and I try to keep a copy of every book that I've published, but there are times when that is gotten out of hand. I mean, I think I'm on book number, 475 or something. So this one is, I'm sorry, is no longer in print. I'm thinking about, maybe I should bring it back. It's just so sweet. It's just got snowman and birds and trees and ice skates. And it says, "Oh, the snow, the beautiful snow." So Lois, you did a beautiful job on that. So we'll have to take a vote on what you all feel about that. All right, let's tackle the next topic. And as I said, I'm going to do just a brief description of it. So, and this is in answer to Kathy's questions. So I pulled out my model. I think she's doing Autumn Harvest. And she wanted to know, how did I get my corners so square? Well, you get better as you do it, but it's not that hard. So I've pulled out, actually I made a kind of just a sample piece so I could show you. And this, what I'm going to show you, would apply to whether you're gluing on the backing fabric or you're gluing on the design itself. So I cut my backing fabric about in my cross stitch fabric about 3/8 to 1/2 inch beyond the piece that I'm covering. And so I use comic board, as I've told you before. You can buy it online. The reason I like it, you can cut it with a scissor. So I just cut out a square and I glued the fabric, and this is my trick. I always fold the corners in first. So I just fold those so they're nice and tight up against that pointed edge. And then the next thing I'm going to do is turn down each of the sides. And if I was doing a piece that was long, like Autumn Harvest, I'd probably turn down the long sides first. And you can either glue those, or I'm going to show you another product that I use that I really like. If you're doing a finished piece with even edges, I either glue it or I use a double-faced tape. So I would glue both of the long edges, and then I would fold the shorter edges in. The main thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get, and I'm going to just pinch it with my fingers here, a very mitered corner. And that is what gives you that really nice clean cut edge. So I have, let's see, I'm always wondering, where do I put things? So I pulled a cup. Well, first of all, let me show you the double-faced tape, because I love using this. It's so much less messy than using glue. So the double-faced tape, let me show you the packaging first, is made by Dritz, and it is called a double-sided clear adhesive tape. You can probably get it at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. And then, in my process of showing you how it was sticking to my finger, to do the next edge here, if you didn't, I'm trying to do this in mid-air, which is a little tricky. All right, So I would put down a piece of double-faced tape on this straight edge after I'd glued my corners, and you have to kind of pinch it down really, really tight. Do I even have a scissor nearby? Let's see here, excuse me. Yeah, I do. I'm gonna cut it so that I'm not gluing myself to the tape. So I would put that double-faced tape down. As I say, you have to secure it very tightly, and then you kind of just, take your fingernail, and it takes a minute or so. Here we go. I think I have it. No, it's not quite tight enough. Let's see if I can do it on. As I say, you have to get it very secured because let me tell you what I'm trying to do. You're trying to separate that top piece of paper from the adhesive that's underneath. So once you peel that off, then you can just put this down and pinch it into place, and it will stay in place. So that's your double-sided tape hint. And then the other hint that I always give to you when you're doing finishing, especially if you're doing shapes that are not a traditional, horizontal or vertical with straight edges. If you're doing a round, I use just a compass to make a round circle, and then I just glue my fabric to the back. Some people baste this first before they glue it. I find I can do it usually just as well by just putting that glue down and pinching my edges in so that everything is smooth along the edges. And then my other hint for your finishing today is if you're doing, and I'm going to show you some models that are different shapes, that if you are doing a shape that is not a simple one, I always suggest that you make a copy on your printer of your design and just place it face down on your printer, make a copy of it. When it comes out, it actually will give you a template for what shape do you need to cut for the board and your fabric. So that template, as I say, I'm going to leave about 3/8 of an inch beyond that. But once I have my shape, I can just take a pencil, draw around that shape, and then use that to cut my other shapes out. I hope that makes sense. I'm also going to show you some sleds today, and those two have an unusual shape, and I do the same thing. I lay the design down on the printer, I pick it up, and I make a little template out so that I know the exact shape to do my finishing. So I hope that helps you a little bit with finishing your edges. My next part of today's program, I know one other thing. I always use, not always, there are other glues on the market, but I like Aleene's tacky glue. That works really well. And I'll put it on a paper, and I'll just use a little toothpick or like a tongue depressor shape to use that to put glue along the edges. So I hope that gives you a little help here. Now, on to my next part of my video today. I was trying to think of what kinds of things do I want to show you. And really, we're done with September, we're on to October, and I thought, I don't know about you, but I feel like this year is flying by. I know it goes by at the same pace every year, but it just seems to be flying. So I thought, you know what, I have so many Christmas models, and I just pulled out 10. I thought I'll share some Christmas models with you, and maybe it will inspire you in the next few weeks. Maybe you've already started to start doing some stitching either as gifts or for your Christmas decor. So let's see, what do I have here on my desk? And while I'm showing you, I hope I remember to do this. I'll put it right in my path here. I have some products that I use for finishing that I carry, and you're welcome to order them directly from me, or you can order them from your favorite shop. I'm sorry to say that my website is still not working. It is being worked on, but that's not the same as being done, right? So the first little design I'm going to show you is called French Christmas Tags 2. Obviously, there's another booklet just like this. They're little designs that have been mounted on, let me show you an example, on a wooden tag, and it just makes such a sweet finish. And if I was finishing this, which you could do easily by yourself, again, I would take the design, I'll show you the models. After it was stitched, I'd just lay it down and make a template of this little house shape. So in that booklet, there's a little cardinal, and there's also a dove which says peace. So that is French Christmas tags. Now, I have two sizes of these tags, which I'll show you in a minute. I have a larger size for stitching over 2, and then I have a smaller size for stitching over 1. All right, the next model that I'm going to show you is similar in shape. It is also done on these little wooden tags. Let me lay these all out here. And here is, for French Christmas tags, the first version. So in this booklet, there are 3 designs. There's a door, there's love, and there is a little Christmas house. And once again, I have stitched these both over 2. I can show you the door. And I think I did that on a 32 count. Let me double check. Yes, I did the over 2 on a 32 count Belfast. And then I did the over 1, which is so sweet, it's so tiny, on a 28 Cashel. And once again, these are mounted on the wooden tags that I have. And I'll show you a couple other models here. I have the love design worked over 2, and the love design worked over 1. And then I also, here's what the little Christmas house looks like. And I just trim them with twisted cording. I do a 2, you could do a single color. I like to do a 2-color cording, and then I just add a little bow at the bottom and a ribbon for the hanger. So those are the French Christmas tags. Now, let's see, I'm just going to pull off my pile here. I also have a little stool here. I was also going to put things on. It's always hard when, sometimes I use my big work table next to me, but today I decided to be very compact. So then it's always, where do you put everything? So this one, actually, I just had to refinish. And I'll show you, this is actually Alphabet in the Round. But there is a Christmas version that's been done of that by just using 2 colors. 2 Christmas colors of reds and greens. I have seen people do it all in red and then just with their last initial just do that letter to set it off. But I just refinished this recently because my original model of it broke, and I thought, all right, I carry, and I'm going to show you those in just a minute, I carry 3 different sizes of scallop discs, wooden discs that are perfect for finishing. 2 of them are unfinished so that you can spray paint whatever color you want on the background. So this we just spray painted kind of a creamy tone, and I was able to take this model off the broken piece and remount it, and I just love the way it turned out. And on the back of it, you could, if this was a gift for someone, you could write on the back of it, sign it, date it, and as a Christmas gift. It would be a wonderful housewarming gift. And the booklet for that, I think I just showed to you, is the Alphabet in the Round. All right, let me show you the 3 scallop tags since I just mentioned those. So I have one that is a 5-inch size. Now this one is actually made for me by another company, and this comes painted on both sides. It's a white. And then I also have, just recently I started carrying a 4-inch size, which I used for a lot of my over 2, and the 5-inch I also use for the over 2 models. And this, as I say, is unpainted. That's what I used for the model that I just showed to you. And then there's also is this a 4-inch? I'm trying to think. Anyhow, they're staggered sizes. I don't have a ruler on here. It must be 6, 5, and 4 because this one is the little one for the over 1. All right, so those are a couple of products that I carry that you're welcome to write to me about. Oh, there is one more, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, the next Christmas design I'm going to show you today is a Stitcher stocking. And this was designed just a couple years ago. I thought it would really appeal to people as a gift for those of you who are stitching friends. It doesn't take too long to stitch. I can show you what the model looks like. Here's the model stitched over one. My finisher, Karen, did such a beautiful job with this. She put a tiny little silver charm that is a hand. Now, sometimes when you're looking for charms, I can go on Etsy and find charms. You know, if I'm looking for a crown or a heart or something, I can usually find something on there. I don't have a lot of luck at Hobby Lobby, but you know, there used to be a company that you could go on their website and order like 1 or 2 charms that I'm sorry to say has gone out of business, but it's so much fun to attach a little charm to a piece. So I just showed you a little while ago when I was talking about finishing, you know, about how do you finish a shape that is like a stocking. So just what I said, make a copy of it, make a template, and then you can mount your backing fabric on here and the design on the front and just add ribbons. And these I usually finish with just twisted cording. And that pattern, did I show that to you? I'm not sure, is a stitcher's stocking. And of course this can be stitched over 2, over 1, on any count fabric it would work on. So what do I have next? All right, I did these a while ago. The first ones I'm going to show you, I'm missing a model in this one, is not a Christmas design, but I have another design related to this that has a Christmas look to it. These models that I'm going to show you are called the Petite Cottages. And there is a pink one, there is a green and pink and like an aqua, and then there's also a blue one, and I don't know where that one is, so I might have to stitch it again. And this is what the models look like, mounted on these little wooden houses that I also carry, and I just think they're so sweet. Once again, you could write on the back. This would be a wonderful housewarming gift for a friend. It would make a darling ornament, and again, I just think it would make a nice gift, even though it is not a Christmas design itself. So in relation to that, there is also a design called Petite Christmas Cottages. And this came out 3 years ago. This is so much fun to design. I just love doing this. I like doing houses, as you know, and it was just fun to add trees and wreaths and boughs and to change the roof shape and the doors and the windows. It really was a delight. So this is what the Petite Christmas Cottages look like. So here's one with a red roof and trees on either side of the front door and a little bough running across the house above the windows. I've added beads in here for the trees, but primarily this is worked over 2, and that was worked on a 32 count linen. This one, the second one in this series, also has a bow. It has a Christmas tree next to the window, and it has beads that run right across the top of that little bow. And these would make darling Christmas ornament gifts or for yourself. And then the third one has a completely different roof and shape and colors. It actually has almost like a polka dot look in the background of the house. It has a tree in the front window of the house and another tree by the front door. It has a little wreath, a tiny wreath up here, and I put tiny little petite beads on that little wreath. So this is what the booklet looks like. It is, did I show it to you before? This is the pattern for Petite Christmas Cottages. So we'll set that aside. Let's see, I've shown you that, I've shown you that. We only have a couple more to go today. So this one is called Sledding Snowman. And this was so much fun. I actually started out, I think I've shown this in the past when I've done some finishing suggestions. The first time I stitched this little guy, I stitched him on a white fabric but his face wouldn't show up on that white fabric, so I gave him a blue face. Let me tell you, he looks spooky. I have that model still because I use it to show some finishing ideas, but I'll tell you, that snowman with a blue face is not cute. So I changed my mind. I chose a very pale blue fabric, and I love how that turned out. So it's just a little snowman that says joy with presents at the bottom. These sleds you can find online. I know the Silver Needle in Tulsa carries the sleds, and they come in different sizes. So I'm trying to think. I think there's a large one, like a medium, and then I'll show you the small one. So this is the one that's stitched over 2, and this this also was stitched on a 32 count fabric, and then this is the same model stitched over 1, and that is on a 28 count fabric. And the sleds, when you get them, are actually brown, so I choose to spray paint them just so that they, to me, look a little more festive. So I have a few more sleds to show you. I think I have 4 books altogether that feature sleds. Let me take a quick drink of water. So I'm going to show you, all right, so I'm going to show you the first one. Here is Little Green Sleds. And once again, there are 3 designs in this booklet. My hair is driving me crazy. It's flopping in my eyes. There are 3 designs in this booklet. I've stitched them over 2 and over 1. I painted all the sleds. I'll show you the models. A nice deep, green color. And here's the little stocking, which would be a very sweet gift for a baby. Once again, I showed you the shape for mounting getting this shape to make a template, and talk to you about using your printer. So that makes it so easy. You have the shape, you don't have to fuss about it, and it's a fairly easy finish. You just mount that on comic board with a little batting, and I just use a little simple cording around the edges with a bow. So there are 3 designs in this booklet. Here is the little stocking with the bear, and it worked over 1, and that too, I'm sure it's worked on 32, and then the over 1's on 28 over 1. And then here is the little gingerbread boy. That would be a really sweet baby gift. You could write on the back of the sled, you could sign it with the name and the date. And then the last one is the little gingerbread boy. Sometimes the little handles on these get bent when they're in my storage unit. So this is the little guy over 1. So that's Little Green Sleds. There's also a booklet, of course, called Little Red Sleds, and it has these 3 designs in it. So it has the Love, the Noel, and the Little Village. And then there is another sled design. I think I call it Sledding Santa. Yes, I do. And I'll have to get that out another time. So I just have a few more to show you today. I always love this one, and I'm going to have to look in my supply closet, because I think that the couple that made boards for me that I showed you earlier that are pre-painted, I think they've done a horn book for me. But let me look. In case you're interested, just write me a letter. But this is French Country Santa. I love this as an ornament or a little design to hang on a door. This model has been stitched over 1, and this is what the French Country Santa looks like. He's been out a while. I also finished him as a darling little over 2 as a pillow, and I think when I did it, I gathered up the top and then I tied a little bow around that, and then I did a little hem stitching around the top. It really turned out so sweet. All right, 2 or 3 more to show you. This is always interesting, I think, because I like to show you what one design looks like in several colorways. So this is O'er the Fields We Go, which I have stitched in red, white on a red fabric, which makes a red fabric that's just a really nice red. And then I've also stitched it. I did 3 models of this design. I also stitched it red on white, and then I just mounted that on a wooden board. And if you're interested, I can show you that next time. And then the third model I have to show you of that very same design, and look at how different it looks. I stitched in blue on an antique white. Now this I think is interesting because I think this could be left out really all winter as just kind of a winterscape, because it's just trees and deer. It has an alphabet that runs under the deer and a sweet little antique border that's around the base. But this was just finished with some blue fabric. I've forgotten what line this is. I don't think it's French General, but I just love how that turned out with a little rickrack border. And so how different they look depending on the size or the color of your background fabric. And then the last one, Christmas one I have to show you, came out I think a year ago. And this one is called Fleur de Noel. And this again has been stitched in many colorways. I stitched it in kind of a cranberry and pale pink, and that's been finished as a pillow. I love how that looks. The original model was stitched on a 37 count excess commodities fabric called Russian tea cake. And let's see, what about the green one? I'm not sure. So this is just shades of green, the very same design, but how different it looks. And then if you watch, oh gosh, Mrs. Jones Stitches, Holly, she's just darling. She just stitched this because she said she didn't see it as a Christmas design. She stitched it in spring colors, and it is just adorable. She just said last week on her last video that she's getting it framed, so I'm sure it will appear in one of her new videos. And she just chose beautiful pale pastels, and it's just beautiful. So, you know, I just love seeing clever people do clever things. So that is the end of my Christmas models for today. So this is going to be a fairly short video for me. Maybe not short. I hope you're stitching and just relaxing and enjoying yourself. So I always like to choose a shop of the week or the shop of the month. It's been a month almost since I recorded my last video. But this is a shop that has been in business so long. I've actually been to her shop. It's called Deer Hill Farm. It's in Hyde Park, New York. Pat is the owner. I'm going to leave this up so you can look at her address and her email and her phone number. If you're looking for anything, I would definitely give Pat a call or send her an email. She is on my automatic, which means everything that I release, she orders the booklets of. And she's been a long time, very, very faithful customer. So I'm always so grateful for those shops who are just, so faithful in buying the patterns. So thank you, Pat. I'm honored to have you as my shop of the week this week. Now, let's see. One thing that I try to do is I always try to go back through the comments in the last video, and I use a random number generator, and I choose 3 names of people who made comments, and I tell them that they can choose a prize. And this week I'm changing my prizes a little bit. So I thought it might be fun. I have 3 prizes that are a little different than usual. I don't even know how long ago this was published. Oh, I do. It's down here, 2008. So this is a booklet that years ago, I think I only have one of these left, was called A Few Favorites. And it has back then I just chose, a number of designs that I thought would be appealing to people, and I put them in a collection. So I have To the Beach in here. I can show you on the back here. I have Christmas Welcome. These are out of print. To the Sea is out of print. Reindeer Parade is out of print. I still have A Star is Born, and I think I still have Ready, Set, Go, which is like a little boy's design. So I'm going to give away this booklet to somebody. You just have to, if I call your name, write to me, email me, and I'd be glad to send it to you. And then I'm going to give away 2 products with the books that they go with. So I'm going to give away one of my house shapes, and you can choose either the Petite Cottages or the Christmas Cottage booklet to go with this. And then the other design or product I'm going to give away this time is one of the little tag pieces, and it can be a small one or a large one, and you can choose from the French tags that I showed you earlier in the video. So I thought I'd try something new this time for prizes. So I really appreciate you watching. Then I always like to give a quotation, and this year I've really been concentrating on kindness. I think it kind of strikes a chord with all of us. And so someone actually last video sent me a quote that she liked, and I have written it down, and I'm going to use it next time because I found it after I had done all my plans here. But my quote this time, I always get so emotional when I read them, but I just love them. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. Now, what I need to do, that's Leo Biscaglia, is go back and look at my quotes from past videos, because I haven't kept like a list of what I've used, so maybe I've repeated it, but anyhow, it's a beautiful, beautiful thought. So I have 2 quick life updates, and that is my husband and I are taking 2 trips in October, and I'm so excited. We haven't been anywhere in a long, long time. One of the trips, I'm not going to be able to tell you about either one, but one of them involves going to a cross-stitch shop, and I am so excited about this visit. I've never been to this shop. I can't tell you yet where it is, but when I get back in a couple weeks, I will do another video, and I will tell you all about the experience of visiting this shop and meeting stitchers, etc. So it's very exciting. Now, how to contact me. Email is judy@jbwdesigns.com. I have an Instagram page, which is judy.whitman, and I have a Friends of JBW Designs Facebook page, and you can just go on and answer a few questions and become a part of that group, because people post many, many beautiful finishes. So thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate you all, and I hope to see you in a few weeks. Take care.